Yes, how y'all feeling tonight? First off, I gotta say, welcome to the trap. Hey. Y'all acting like y'all didn't know y'all was in the trap or something.
Tech Trap.
So, Tech Trap House is basically an event that we created, right? Because we saw the need to bridge the gap between tech and community, right? So on one end, you got people from the community, born and raised or whatever, right? And you might see them protesting a Google bus. You know what I mean? And then you got these people that move in, you know, they might work at Google. You know what I mean? And they ride the Google bus. You know what I mean? So it's like, and then they never even meet the people from the community, right? But it's like, who would really want to meet you if you got a sign up protesting the bus that they ride on? You know what I mean? So it's like, we gotta bridge the gap. You know what I mean? Between that, we gotta figure out a way that the local people and the people at these different companies can work together. You know what I mean? And we can see a more equitable future. You know what I mean? So that's why we created this. Yeah. So my story is, right, I got into tech about 3 years ago. I drove Uber and Lyft full time. You know what I mean?
You did Instacart too, right?
I did Instacart too, right? And then I was like, man, you know what? I need to get to the other side of this app game. Because the people that do these jobs get exploited. Period. Like, it was created as a system of exploitation. It was a way to get around the employment laws, right? The independent contractor, right? So I decided I was going to be on the other side. I was going to figure out how it worked. And I actually had an idea for an app. It was called Unstuck, right? Where I could have used my app today had I continued on that path, because I locked my keys in the car, right? So, you know what I mean? So I initially wanted to create this app that was like the Uber of roadside assistance and like knock AAA out of the box. You know what I mean? But I didn't have the means or the knowledge or the expertise on how to do that. You know what I mean? And then once I learned it, then I was like, man, like I could do this, or I could do a million other things that require less work and require less, you know, will potentially get me less lawsuits. Because if you see like Uber and Lyft, right, they getting sued left and right. I've been involved in a few of them lawsuits. You know, I got a few checks. You know what I'm saying? Nah, but this event was created to bridge that gap, right? But once I got into tech, once my wife got into tech, right, we were able to, in a way we had not even known was possible before, afford to stay and get an apartment in San Francisco. You know what I mean? Without public assistance, without public housing, without Section 8. You know what I mean? And more people need to know that's possible. More people need to know that I exist. That people like us exist. And that it's not as hard as, you know, they make it seem, right? Because it's really about what you want to do that's hard. I decided that providing for my family, I didn't want that to be hard. Like coding, like learning a skill, that can be hard. It's cool. Like I'm okay with that. But in terms of like providing for a family and like being able to sustain myself, I want that to be easy. You know what I mean? So we gotta choose what we gonna do that's hard. Like providing for a family on minimum wage, it's impossible. You know what I mean? So that's like a whole nother level of hard. This coding stuff is not that impossible. And then there's so many lanes, you don't necessarily have to be a coder. You know what I mean? And there's so many areas of expertise that we have, like throwing events, right? That we can now apply to this particular field. Which is, you know, like I threw events before I did this, right? And I feel like I'm talking a lot. Can somebody let me know if I'm talking a lot?
Yeah.
Keep going.
Preach, brother. Let it through.
Keep talking.
Nah, but thank you all for coming out. Thank you for being here. And I hope to see y'all next month. We do this every third Friday. We got some wonderful speakers. And this month, what you say?
We got Shamika in the house.
We got Shamika in the house. But so this is a special occasion, right? And it's a special occasion. Why? Because can anybody guess where Shamika's from?
Oakland.
Huh?
Oakland.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Come on, man. See, we said we was bridging the gap.
Bridge without the
You
toe.
know what I mean? So we had to get Shamika from the other side of the bridge. You know what I'm saying?
It ain't that far.
You know, it's actually closer than some parts of San Francisco. You know what I'm saying? Nah, but thank y'all for coming out. Are y'all having a good time? Yeah. So are y'all ready for this amazing Q&A with Corey Harris and Shamika Abraham? If y'all ready, y'all gotta let me know y'all ready. Can everybody take like 3, 4, 5 steps in?
We're gonna move this chair out of the way.
Cause it's about to get real. It's about to get, you know what I mean?
Oh, damn.
We need to sit down.
Oh, you finna bust it?
Alright, so Corey.
Maybe later.
So this is one of my co-organizers, Corey Harris. My other co-organizer,
Sit on my phone.
you see him with the Tech Trap House shirts. This is Talia Monet. This is Corey Bill. You know what I mean? And with no further ado, I want to introduce Corey Harris, who's going to tell you about this Q&A. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Cool. Thanks for everybody coming. Debray, thanks for the long-windedness.
You know what I'm saying?
During that time, man.
Somebody got to do it. You know what I'm saying? Somebody got to do it.
Yeah. So before I start talking about Shamika or anybody, I want to first just thank everyone who's helped us gone this far, right? So this is our fifth installment of the Tech Trap House of the Paint. So first off, I want to thank the DJ, the official DJ of the Tech Trap House.
Come on, man.
DJ Baldy. Here's the thing about DJ Baldy. He doesn't do sets. He just looks at head bobs. So if your head bob, he gonna keep that song going on that same vibe, right? I gotta thank Versace.
Hey, that boy makes some good air food. Good air food, boy. Boy good. That boy good.
What's up, y'all? I'm Andrew. I make food. So, I got these loaded fries. They 13, but I'm on negotiate. So just let me know what's up.
Oh, you can't negotiate on quality, bro.
I got 13. That's it.
You know this is the trap house, right?
This is the trap house. Nothing more, nothing less. 2 for Dub. That's a fact.
Only at the trap.
Only at the trap. Let me know what's up. I'm just right over here. Bet.
And dude is 19 years old.
Come on.
18. I'm also 18.
18. editing. So yeah, I want to thank Fude. He's our camera guy, also helping us organize it. He got that vision of doing that documentary and stuff. So I want to tell y'all another thing that we're working on right now, right? So how many of y'all like familiar with Bitcoin?
Yes.
Woo? Woo? That's like one person? Okay. I know you know about it because you work in security. Ethereum's cool too. Them gas fees be going up though, so.
Up and down.
Yeah, so one of the things we're doing here at the Trap House, we're introducing our own, I guess, clothing line. We got the shirts popping.
Come on.
So, we want to go around doing the sign up. So we're doing pre-orders. It's going to be $10 a shirt. And once they retail, they're going to be $20. So y'all getting the hookup right now. I know I told Homeboy to get his money because he's 18. He needed it. So, but you know what I'm saying? We want to make sure we're helping to spread the word about the Tech Trap House and what it stands for, right? So I got to give it out to my boy Fude because he's actually working on BTC-lightning, right? And he's like,
do y'all know what BTC-lightning is?
Don't tell us.
yeah, so BTC-lightning, right? So Bitcoin is very expensive to use, right, to move it around. BTC-lightning sits on top of Bitcoin, which makes it easier to do micropayments, makes it cheaper, right? So during the peak in 2017, if you wanted to send somebody $4, it costs $4 to move it. With Bitcoin, it effectively turns it to like, you can do 1,000 transactions for $1 effectively, right? So Fude is actually working on bringing that functionality to our website so we can sell tickets there, right? And don't have to pay that extra fee. So you guys can, instead of paying, 33, you can just pay 30 to come, right? And then we're also going to implement that, right? So we're going to be the first ones to actually implement it on BTC-lightning, right? And I want to talk about why he came up with the idea, right? Because he's like, a lot of my people who live in the village back in Senegal, right? Live in the village, they don't have iPhone, right? They don't have these full feature phones. So what if you can send a transaction through SMS, right? So I'm not going to spill the beans, but that's basically what he's working on. And that's the goal of Tech Trap House, right? We want to be that launch pad for new ideas to come out to help reach people in underrepresented communities and emerging markets, right? So a little bit about me. I'm from North Carolina. Is anybody here from North Carolina?
Hey, family from North Carolina. Valley girl.
Oh, you from North Carolina? Which city?
Yeah, I flew in from Raleigh yesterday.
I gotta ask you, are you Duke or Carolina?
Damn.
North Carolina is my must-have.
Carolina?
Yeah.
Baby blue?
No, red.
Oh, they okay. You ain't say Duke, so you
So I
still
see that we have a problem.
Wolfpack cool. They cool. They cool. Yeah, so I hail from North Carolina. I've been here 3 years, and one of the things that I really got inspired by Debray from, he was the first person that I met in tech from Hunters Point. Right? So how many people? Well, now y'all know one person. Right? So, again, the same things that are happening here with the locals being pushed out of the tech boom or whatever is happening back home for me. Right? So I grew up in Goldsboro. It's not really being hit by the tech scene, but in Durham is 40%, 50% black. But if you look at most of the tech companies, they don't look like Durham. And then even for the black people who work there, they're not from the triangle. Right? So it's enough room for all of us to work together, right? So again, it goes back home, if we can make it work here, we can bring it everywhere, right? And that's the ultimate goal. So without further ado, I want to introduce Shamika, but first, I gotta make sure we warm up the stage, right? So Shamika, I reached out to her, we met, she was actually connected to Debray on LinkedIn, and I reached out. I'm like, who is this? Cybersecurity. Like cybersecurity? Man, I don't know too many black women working in like cybersecurity. So we met up for drinks and we talked or whatever, and I'm like, wow, this is dope. And then at our last event, we actually had Fred come out and speak, right? And I was like, you know what? What we found is predominantly black women are the ones who are supporting our event, right? So why not have someone who looks like you all speak in front of you all, right? So
Yes, right.
she from Oakland.
Smoking.
Yeah, so I really want y'all to pay attention to like the law of attraction, right? Have you guys heard of the law of attraction, manifestation? Right? This is her whole story, right? Both parents had drug addiction, right? And you know, she dropped out of college in finance, worked in finance, and then basically said, you know, when I met her, she's like, you know, I just say what I want and it happens.
It do.
You know, that's what's called manifestation. She manifested her way here. You know what I'm saying? So without further ado, Shamika, let's go on and get it in.